Okay, so let's review Earthrise Thrust. We'll start by having a look at the face and the head. As you can see, I think he's a very nice head sculpt. I do like his big chin. We don't have any light piping, but we do have some paint apps on the eyes there. Here we see him from the front, the side, the rear. Here he is from the top, and everyone's favourite, underneath. The paint apps in bot mode are quite good. We have the pink knees, which I think are nice. These little gold areas on the inside of those inlets up the top there. His face is well painted, and I think that's pretty much it for bot mode. All in all, it's quite nice. Little Decepticon symbols down here, and I believe these little shin pads are also painted and look very nice. The sculpted detail I think is fantastic. We have some lovely detail around the chest. The face sculpt is very good. Some interesting detail around the legs and arms, which I think is very good. And I think these chunky feet also look very nice. Sadly, the paint on the knees has bled a little over the top, but you'd have to be paying expert attention to notice that one. There's not a lot of weird hollow areas on this thrust model, especially on the front. I keep calling it a model, it's a figure, isn't it? On the back, though, you start to see the kibble. You have the nose cone from the jet on the back here, which you can put in a few different ways. And the wings, which also can fold up in many different ways. Sometimes I think maybe it's better to fold them under the waist like that. What do you guys think? How do you think this guy should be folded? Again, personal preference, but from the front, I think he does look very clean. Now, having a look at the joints, his head moves 360 degrees around. It has some forwards and backwards movement. The arm will lift up and down, spin all the way around, also turns at the bicep. We also have bicep movement. We don't have wrist movement, do we? No, I didn't think we did. But they will flip up, although that is part of the transformation. The waist will not spin, however the legs will kick all the way forward and some of the way back, not a huge amount. They will spin all the way around the legs, and they will bend at the knee. 90 degrees back by the look of things, and straight down. The feet have some ankle rock in them. We can move the toes inboard, but not outward, sadly. This is also part of the transformation. Now, let's see how much this guy weighs. Turn on the trusty transforming scales of judgment. And we can see that Earthrise Thrust weighs a massive 139 grams. Now, when it comes to accessories, he doesn't come with any guns apart from these two shoulder-mounted null rays, which can be affixed to any 5mm weapon port. Perhaps you'd like them on his shins down here, or perhaps you'd like them on the underside of the fins here. The weapons themselves, I think, are very well sculpted. Some interesting detail on these. Sadly, there are no paint apps to be seen on them. Maybe some silver on there would have been nice somewhere. Perhaps this grilled area would be good silver. Now, size-wise, let's compare him to Cliffjumper, and there you go. You can see that Thrust is quite a large robot indeed. Other than that, I think Thrust in robot mode is very nice. Let's see how the transformation goes and then have a look at his alt mode. Okay, so let's review Thrust in his alt mode. His alt mode appears to be some sort of F-15 Eagle conversion of sorts with the vertical takeoff turbines. I assume they're for vertical takeoff. Does he ever take off normally in the cartoons? Does he even need them? I think Starscream just flies straight up in the air. Anyway, I think this is a fantastic looking alt mode. Really like the colours. I especially like this canopy here. Here it is from the top, the side, the front, underneath, and of course his rear. The paint apps I feel on this one are very subtle yet very well executed. I like these Decepticon symbols here, and I also like the silver on the turbines, and I believe this red area here is painted as well as the red areas here. It's a fairly decent match for the actual red plastic here. The sculpted detail in alt mode I think is very good. It's not over the top and horrible. They are some nice panel lines which I think do look very smart. The wings look very good. There's a few pieces of texture there. Sadly, there are some big gaps. There's one here, and there's a couple underneath here. Although in this mode, you're not really going to see those gaps too often. There's no moving parts on this guy, apart from these weapons, which you can plug in anywhere. Some people don't like the fan look, and therefore plug them into the side. Is that a more realistic look? Is that a better look? I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyway, that's Thrust reviewed, and I actually think he's a very, very nice figure. Well worth the money. However, if you're paying scalpers fees, you may want to consider waiting to see if he does show up in greater numbers. What do you think of Earthrise Thrust?